Well, folks, there are two cases in New York, very prominent cases, of men who are defending themselves and others against crazed homeless people. One of those men went free yesterday. The other had to plead not guilty in a court of law. Guess which is which? So New York City has set a new record, guys. Are you excited? They have a record 100,000 people living in homeless shelters. They're doing an amazing job in New York. I mean, those are big numbers. According to the New York Times, New York City passed a woeful milestone this week, spurred by an influx of migrants from the nation's southern border. For the first time, there are now over 100,000 people in homeless shelters, city officials said on Wednesday. Days earlier, the city said the number of migrants in shelters had passed 50,000, that they now make up the majority of people in homeless shelters in the city. Why? Who's in charge of border policy? Who would that be? Oh, that's right. It's the president. The city, under Mayor Eric Adams, has spent over $1 billion to house the migrants since they started arriving in large numbers in the spring of 2022. It expects to spend over $4 billion by next year. But it's not just migrants who are the problem. Obviously, you have a massive embedded homeless problem in New York City, where they refuse to put people who are severely mentally ill or drug addicted off the streets. They leave them on the streets to commit horrifying crimes. And then when you defend yourself, and when you defend others, then they throw you in jail. Which brings us to the case of Daniel Penny. Yesterday, Daniel Penny, who's, of course, the military veteran who put Jordan Neely in a fatal submission hold. He's been charged. He pled not guilty in court. Jordan Neely was, of course, a career violent criminal who had something like 42 prior arrests, and he was threatening people and screaming at them on a subway when Daniel Penny, a Marine Corps veteran, came up behind him and put him in a submission hold. He was accompanied by two other men of a diverse race. It did not matter. He was still he's still been charged now with second-degree manslaughter and criminally negligent homicide. He entered the plea during his arraignment in a state court in Manhattan, according to the Wall Street Journal. Apparently, he will remain released on $100,000 bail. His next appearance in court is set for October 25th. And, of course, the media continue to call Neely a 30-year-old Michael Jackson impersonator, as opposed to, a career homeless person who was basically panhandling on the subways while simultaneously threatening people. At the same time that Daniel Penny was charged, in a piece of better news, another person who had been accused of a stabbing aboard a New York City subway has now been let go. According to the New York Post, the Big Apple strap hanger charged with stabbing a rowdy ex-con to death on a Brooklyn J train was found to have acted in self-defense, leading to his manslaughter charge being dismissed on Wednesday, according to the New York Post. The grand jury declined to indict 20-year-old Jordan Williams, who had been charged with manslaughter and criminal possession of a weapon in the June 13th melee that left another man dead. His self-defense claim was bolstered by video footage presented to the grand jury, which allegedly showed the person who died choking Williams and slugging his girlfriend before Williams stabbed him, according to sources. So the question is, why exactly this guy is off? Well, Daniel Penny is going to be tried for criminally negligent homicide. It couldn't have anything to do with race, could it? The person who is just let go, as he should have been, is black. Daniel Penny is, of course, a white person, and Jordan Neely is a black person. Prosecutors are now saying that they plan to use more footage and statements from Jordan Neely's New York City subway death in the upcoming trial, according to current reports. They said they have additional cell phone video from witnesses of the incident. Court documents said prosecutors claim they obtained at least 5 other cell phone videos from 3 separate witnesses in the deadly incident, and they plan to use that as evidence in the upcoming trial. The documents also state that prosecutors have 2 witnesses' videotaped statements, 2 MTA surveillance videos, and police body cam footage. Other disclosures in the documents from prosecutors include a videotaped statement Penny made to police the day of the incident before authorities released him without charges. Penny told police, quote, he came on, threw all his bleep down, was very aggressive, going crazy. I was behind him, put him in a choke. He said Neely was acting irate, dropping things on the floor, saying he doesn't care if he goes to jail. So Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg, who is here to prosecute Donald Trump for non-crimes, and apparently also Daniel Penny for non-crimes, he continues to move forward on this one. Penny faces up to 19 years in prison if he is convicted on both counts in this particular case. Meanwhile, people are fleeing the big cities, as well they should. Portland has now lost 3% of its population between 2020 and 2022. Maybe it's because you guys decided that you're not going to police crime ever again. The drop of about 17,400 people was the 6th largest decline among 50 of the largest cities in America. Mayor Ted Wheeler, Democrat, who has basically given the city over to lawlessness, has come under increasing pressure to address rising violent crime and sprawling homeless encampments. Bad blue state governance is what creates these sorts of problems, and they're only going to get worse. It takes a special kind of company to want to partner with our company here at Daily Wire. We say a lot of controversial stuff. A lot of people are afraid of us saying those controversial things. But Pure Talk is not afraid of that, which is why they stand behind us. And it's just one reason we stand behind them as well. Pure Talk shares my values as well as the values of the other hosts here at Daily Wire. That's why we made them the official wireless partner of the Daily Wire, but that's not the only reason. We check the coverage. It's premium. Pure Talk is the most dependable 5G network in the United States. I use it myself. Mix and match your plans to fit every person in your family. Choose from talk, text, and 5G data for just $20 a month, all the way up to unlimited data with mobile hotspot for $55 a month. Remember, you vote with how you spend your money, so stop supporting woke wireless companies that don't support you and switch on over to Pure Talk today. Head on over to puretalk.com/Shapiro. Save an additional 50% off your very first month of coverage. That's puretalk.com/Shapiro. Pure Talk is wireless for Americans by Americans. I use their coverage. All my business calls are Pure Talk. Pure Talk is a great company. They'll give you great coverage, and they don't hate your guts like a lot of the other phone companies do. Go check them out right now. puretalk.com/Shapiro to save an additional 50% off your very first month of coverage. So are you exhausted with woke corporate America trying to push messaging that further alienates conservative Americans? It's happening all over the country, obviously. Family retailers are selling tuck-friendly bathing suits, and coffee shops are strong-arming customers to support abortion, and beer companies are forcing gender ideology on you when all you really wanted to do was just have a very watered-down beer. Thankfully, with Public Square, we don't have to fund these companies any longer with our dollars. Public Square is an app and website where you can get connected to tens of thousands of businesses from all different industries who share your value for life, family, and freedom. Public Square also offers discounts to many high-quality businesses on the platform, so you actually have an incentive to spend money with companies that actually don't hate your guts. Whether you're looking for new athletic clothing that knows what a woman is, or a banking partner you can count on, or simply a new restaurant in your area that's not going to lecture you about your political views as you try to enjoy a meal with your family, head on over to publicsq.com. Public Square is free to join as a consumer or a business owner. You can get started right now at publicsq.com or download their app today. That's publicsq.com right now. I get this question from a lot of people all the time. How do I find businesses who don't hate my guts? Well, this is the answer. Public Square. Go check them out right now. publicsq.com or download their app today. Okay, meanwhile, Vladimir Putin is now settling all family business. According to the Wall Street Journal, he is moving to seize control of the Wagner global empire. The Kremlin is assuring nations in Africa and the Middle East that it's going to continue to manage the Wagner forces, which have spread Russian power at little cost to Putin. So the Wagner is a mercenary group that has been used by Vladimir Putin since basically 2014 to do his dirty work everywhere from Ukraine to Syria. And then apparently he attempted to essentially override the head of the Wagner group, Yevgeny Prigozhin, and then take control of it. And that is why Prigozhin tried to lead a revolt against Putin, and that went sideways very, very quickly. And he is now in Belarus awaiting his suicide. But Wagner is apparently now in the crosshairs of Putin. He's going to sort of vertically integrate these mercenary forces directly into the Russian armed forces. Russia's deputy foreign minister, according to the Wall Street Journal, flew to Damascus to personally deliver a message to Syrian President Bashar al-Assad. Wagner Group forces would no longer operate there independently. Senior Russian foreign ministry officials phoned the president of the Central African Republic, whose personal bodyguards include Wagner mercenaries, offering assurances that Saturday's crisis would not derail Russia's expansion into Africa. Government jets from Russia's Ministry of Emergency Situations shuttled from Syria to Mali, another of Wagner's key foreign outposts. The rush of diplomatic activity reflected Putin's attempt to play down the chaos at home and assure Russia's partners in Africa and the Middle East that they are not going anywhere because these mercenaries have basically been used as shock troops by a bunch of bad foreign regimes. J. Peter Pham, former special envoy for the West African Sahel region, said Wagner helped Russia build its influence and the government is loath to give it up. Wagner give the state deniability. The question is whether they can manage its complexity and deal with additional scrutiny. I mean, the answer now is that Russia doesn't care. I mean, right now, what Wagner originally offered to Putin is they could commit whatever human rights violations they wanted to commit, and Putin couldn't be directly blamed because he didn't run them. He was connected to them, but he wasn't in direct control. Well, now I'm not sure that Putin cares, considering he's been firing rockets at apartment buildings in Kiev. So, I think that at this point, what is the harm of vertically integrating? The big break between Wagner and the Russian government came over Defense Secretary Viktor Shoigu, who's done apparently a terrible job in the Ukraine war, and the Wagner group's head was like, guys, you're doing a horrible job. We hate this. And the response from the Russian government was to essentially try to take control of the entire Wagner group itself. So now Russia's deploying all of its top diplomats to various foreign regions to try to convince them that Wagner is not going away, so that this entire battle does not change the face of Russian sort of footprint across the world. Meanwhile, Putin, it sounds like, is just getting rid of top people who may have been involved in the attempted coup. According to The Guardian, a Russian general who previously led the invasion force in Ukraine has not been seen in public since Saturday, with U.S. intelligence reportedly claiming he had prior knowledge of the uprising led by Prigozhin. General Sergei Surovikin is the head of the Russian aerospace forces and formerly Moscow's supreme commander in Ukraine. Prigozhin had welcomed his appointment to that post in 2022, calling him a legendary figure and born to serve his motherland. Those well-publicized links led to rumors that Surovikin may be purged or put under investigation for supporting the mutiny. So his suicide notice, I'm sure, will be issued in the near future sometime. Alrighty, guys, the rest of the show is continuing right now. You're not going to want to miss it. I will be interviewing Tom McKenniff, one of the lawyers representing Daniel Penny. If you're not a member, become a member. Use code Shapiro at checkout for 2 months free on all annual plans. Click that link in the description and join us.